If another woman steals your man, there's no better revenge than letting her keep him, because a loyal man cannot be stolen. And if he wasn't loyal to you, he won't be loyal to her. I love this quote. It's one that I often use when talking to women who are dealing with infidelity. Something I find is that for most of us, men and women alike, being cheated on is one of our greatest fears when it comes to relationships. Therefore, wouldn't you want to know what leads men to commit such an act of betrayal? My name is Ismael Gomez. I'm a coach, writer, and speaker. And I'm here to tell you ladies that answering the question, why do men cheat, is not as simple as you may think. But with that in mind, I want to offer some clarity about common factors that cheaters share, so you can choose better partners or even find a way to save a struggling relationship before it reaches the point of no return. Okay, so let's begin. Alright ladies, here's a few of the most common reasons why men cheat, according to psychology. Let's start with the numbers. Data from several sources, including the Institute for Family Studies, reveals that about 20% of men and 13% of women admitted to cheating. Those numbers definitely support the idea that men are more likely to cheat than women, but women are not that far behind. When asked why they cheated, the number one reason men gave might surprise you, but 77% said that they just fell out of love. That's a tough pill to swallow, I know, and I know that a lot of you are thinking like, oh yeah, but that doesn't excuse him for cheating. I get it, but also, it highlights the importance of keeping the spark alive in your relationship, right? The next reason is pretty straightforward, but still very high on the list. 74%. Men said variety. These men claim that they cheated for some excitement outside of the relationship. Maybe things got stale and they didn't want to leave the relationship outright, but they still wanted to, have their cake and eat it too. Another major reason was neglect. 70% of men say that they felt ignored or that their partner had become emotionally distant. These men craved connection, and sadly, they looked for it outside of the relationship. Again, I'm not excusing their behavior, but just pay attention to these things. Men also blamed other factors like demanding work schedules where they spent a lot of time, away from home. They became lonely, and instead of working less, they filled that romantic void with a coworker because closer proximity made the arrangement more convenient. And the most brutal reason given, according to the research, was plain old anger. 43% of men said that they cheated because they were mad at their partner for one reason or another, maybe like some revenge cheating. And this percentage isn't as high as some of the other reasons on the list, but it's nearly half. When a man is truly interested in you, he will be emotionally available and make his feelings obvious to you. The connection will flow effortlessly, reflecting mutual understanding and trust. He won't confuse you with mixed signals or inconsistency. He will hold your hand and tell you, I am going in this direction. Are you coming with me? Another surprising detail that I discovered in the research had to do with age. According to the data, men between the ages of 55 and 65 are at the highest risk of cheating. I think it's because they know that their erections will soon be entering retirement, so they get desperate to use the last reserve of testosterone. I mean, I know so many men who started using Viagra in their 50s, and they hide those pills because they don't want anyone to find out that they need some help in the bedroom. Another detail is the single most likely age for a man to cheat is 39. I'll be turning 39 in 5 years, so I'll try to beat that statistic. And finally, check this out because it blew my mind away. Researchers found that any age ending in a 9 was considered a danger zone. 29, 39, 49, any age where a man is on the verge of a new decade, a new stage in his life, where he might be struggling with an identity crisis related, to getting older. These men tend to cheat the most around these ages as a consequence of low self-esteem. Now, let's talk about the types of men. Narcissistic men obviously are more likely to cheat than altruistic men. Also, men who have a history of cheating or of being divorced in the past tend to cheat more than men who haven't. The same is true for men who come from broken homes where their parents didn't stay together. It's harder to have a committed relationship yourself when you never saw one growing up. However, there's always exceptions, like I said. I come from divorced parents and a couple of friends of mine as well, and we've never cheated. So remember that these are not absolute, but pointers for you to pay attention to. What is also interesting is that men in longer relationships tend to cheat more than men in shorter ones, which obviously means that the longer you're with someone, the more opportunities there are to cheat. Again, don't assume that your man won't stray just because you've been together for a long time. Effort and dedication is a choice that must be made every day. Another major factor has to do with a man's bank account. Research shows that men who make more money tend to cheat more because they have more resources and they naturally look more attractive to the opposite sex, so they have more romantic options. So for all of you ladies that don't want to date a teacher, a plumber, somebody who makes less than 50K a year, know what you're signing up for. And finally, men who spend more time in church than at the office tend to cheat less. The data shows that men who are deeply committed to religious beliefs tend to cheat at a much lower rate than men who are atheists. So what happens if your man cheats and you decide that you want to stay together and work through his betrayal? This is another question that I get all the time, and the answer depends on your personal set of circumstances. If you share a home with children, like you have a family that you've built together, it obviously gets more complicated. But what's shocking is that none of these details are the number one reason why a woman chooses to stay with a cheater. According to research, the biggest predictor of whether or not someone is going to stay with a cheater is what their friends have to say about it. If your friends are telling you to stay because they think that you should work it out, or if they tell you to run for the hills and never look back, women are more likely to listen to these friends, whichever side the pendulum might swing. My response to that is then you better make sure that you have amazing friends that give you healthy advice and let you make your own decisions. Otherwise, you might end up destroying your relationships. Alright ladies, so with all this being said, what does this research mean for your love life? How do you make sure that you never get cheated on? Unfortunately, there's no guarantees, right? But there are things that you can do to minimize your chance of heartbreak. Avoid dating narcissists or anyone without solid morals. Pay attention to your partner. Make them a priority, communicate openly and often, both in the bedroom and outside of the bedroom. And the more money he makes, the closer you need to look at his behavior. And even though the research mentions specifically religion, I still think that in general, centering your relationships around spirituality can greatly strengthen your bond in many ways. When you share spiritual beliefs and practices, you create a deeper connection that goes beyond surface level. This shared foundation can foster mutual respect, understanding, and empathy, as both partners are aligned in their values and life purpose. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Ladies, thank you for subscribing to my channel. I'm glad that you chose me to learn about self-love, dating, and relationship dynamics, because like I always say, for your relationships to change, you need to change. Have a beautiful day.